Anthony here.
And Nick here.
From NDM, New Dimension Motorsports. This is our first Shop Talk video. Brake servicing and tips. Just bear with us, guys. This is pretty basic, but, you know, we're going to start somewhere, right? So right now, we're just taking off the lower caliper bracket bolt. Sorry, not the bracket bolt, the caliper bolts to the bracket. And we're going to pull our caliper off. And we're going to clean this guy up. Oh man, that pad is seized. I'm going to go get in here and get a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, or a pry bar. I just went for the screwdriver because I like using tools for what they're not intended to do.
He likes to screw.
That's it, man. But this tool is being used for what it's intended for, pushing the caliper pistons back. It's called a caliper piston depressor. Now we're going to wire brush our pistons to make sure they're nice and shiny clean. Get all that brake dust out of there and brake clean it.
Now to depress the pistons, you can also use C-clamps or channel locks, big pair of channel locks to do that as well.
Now we're going to clean our shims. Wire brush them. Caution, guys. Do not use a die grinder on these. I know it looks easy and fun to just die grind everything, but if you take too much material off and this thing doesn't sit in there properly, you just might as well get new ones because it's just going to make lots of noise.
And we don't like that noise.
Nope. Quiet brakes are good brakes in this case. So we are now wire brushing the pads, the back of the pads, and sides, basically everywhere. You want to make sure this thing is nice and clean. So when the customer looks through their wheels, they see, wow, shiny new. That little line that you're seeing right there in the middle of the pad material, that's designed to reduce noise and collect brake dust in there. And we'll show you when we get to the rears. I'm just checking to make sure that that shim is not moving around, because if that back shim's moving, that's no good. Now we're going to die grind all the surface areas where the pad slides around in the bracket. We want to make sure they're nice and clean, rust free, so that pad is not binding or getting caught up or just tight. You don't want it tight in there. You want it nice and loose. We can also die grind that back shim, that steel plate that you can see I'm die grinding right now. Clean up some rust off there and then give her a quick brake cleaning. That way she looks nice and pretty. Now I'm deglazing the pads, just very lightly, sandpaper, nothing crazy. It's not taking material off really. It's just taking a light layer off to make sure that there's going to be no noise after when the customer takes the car. This is the pad measuring tool. It's called the flat rate money tool. We're going to be checking to see how much material is left on the pad. In this case, we're not going to be able to sell brakes, guys. Sorry. This thing's got lots of pad material. Looks like there's the 8 mil, so a little bit more than 8 mil, so like 9 mil worth of pad there. So this car's got 20,000 K on it, so it's just the basic brake service. Now we're going to put grease on all those spots that we ground, sorry, and a little bit on that back shim.
Gotta lube it up.
Fresh. Make sure that pin's moving freely on the back, and then you can put some on the pistons as well. Very lightly, you don't have to go too crazy. You don't want it to look messy. You want it to look like a nice, sleek. There we go. Get the caliper back on, and then tighten up your bottom caliper bolt. I use a long bar. It's a Matco box end wrench. Check the tightness on the top one too. You can use a small wrench too. I don't recommend it just because you don't get enough torque on it. And then put a little bit of grease on the hub. Make sure that that wheel doesn't ever get stuck on there. That's always annoying.
Take out the sludge hammer.
Now you can hand tighten your nuts. Don't get any crazy thoughts, guys. Just the wheel nuts.
Oh, okay.
And then basically repeat for the back. The back brakes are pretty much identical other than the size. to the front on this car. It's 4-wheel discs. The only difference is that we have parking brake shoes and hardware in behind the rotor, which I will go into more detail in another video. If you guys want any more specific videos, comment, message us. Hell, make an Instagram picture asking us. We'll check it out. If you guys want more in-depth videos, let us know. If you guys want more brief videos, let us know. We're just kind of testing out the field right now, seeing what you guys want to see.
Yeah, if we're boring you to death with this, let us know.
So now I'm going to show you that little crease inside the pad, that little slot. In the back brakes, it tends to get a lot more dust inside of it, so there's two ways of cleaning it out. In this case, they're not too packed solid with dust, so you can use an easy method, but the first method is the more extreme method. It's the quickest and easiest way. It's a little air saw, and it'll take out anything, especially if you got a fresh bit in there. You can just cut the pad if you want, but very lightly. And then the second method is we're going to use a small hacksaw blade. You can use a full-size one. I just have broken ones just on the bottom of my cart, and in this case it takes it out no problem. But you want those to be free, because if you leave all that dust in there, there's a good chance you're going to have a brake screech or a brake squeal in the near future, and that's no good. Same thing, clean up those shims, the wire brush, nice and clean. Get rid of all that rust. Now's a good time to give the suspension a good, just a good look over. You can check the struts, you can check the stable links in the back, you can check the bushings. You can briefly check the body of the car for any scratches and dings that you didn't see before when you did your initial walk around, which everybody should do.
Well, you gotta upsell, right?
And you don't want to get blamed for stuff you didn't do. So that's no fun. So once you've finished cleaning up everything, you're good to clean up your pads. Make sure they're nice and shiny. And wear gloves, guys. I know people say, oh, gloves are for pussies. Gloves make you look gay. No. Within 6 months, you'll notice that your hands are just ready to fall off.
Protect your hands, right?
I guarantee you.
It's your most precious tool as a tech.
And safety glasses. So our intention for these videos are to entertain / educate, even go as far as to, teach some guys that are looking to get into the trade some tricks. Like, I'm prepared to go in depth on some very technical things. Like, I'm going to do head gaskets, and I'll go in depth on that as well. And, maybe some big suspension jobs, brake lines. I plan on doing brake lines soon on my car, so that might end up being a pretty big video. We might speed up quite a bit because it takes a long time, but same thing with these, light deglazing on the pads. If the car has very worn down pads, just skip the deglazing because,
Because they're going to have no pads left.
Exactly. So we're checking the thickness of the pad material, friction material here. So it looks like we got in between 6 mil and 8 mil. There's the 8 mil, there's the 6. So I'd say she's about 7 mil. And a brand new rear pad on these cars is 8 mil. So,
It's brand new.
Brand new. I haven't even been using the brakes.
It's the best way to do it.
That's what bumpers are for, right? No, this car's clean. Grease them up, just like the front. I usually grease up the back of the inboard pad instead of putting grease on the caliper piston on the back. I don't know why I do it that way. I just find that's just the way I've always done it. I don't know. But the front brakes, I always put grease on the pistons. But the back brakes, I always just put the grease right on the back of the inboard pad. I don't know why I do it that way. It's just a habit. Maybe it just keeps the grease from getting on my hands because the front brakes are a little harder to get it back together. It can fight you sometimes. Same thing, tighten it up. The torque spec for these bolts that we're tightening right now are actually 20 foot-pounds, well, 19.9 foot-pounds, but you could torque them if you want, but if you got a long wrench and you're giving it a good yank, it's tight enough. But I would never complain if you guys wanted to use a torque wrench for everything. If I had the time, I'd do it too. Put our wheel back on. Make sure you torque the wheels as well. The manufacturer torque spec on this car, it's 88 foot-pounds. That's the star pattern for tightening the wheels. That's what you want to go by every time you tighten the wheel. You never want to go in a circle. You always want to go opposite. That ensures that the rim seats the hub evenly and ultimately guarantees that, you know, the wheels are going to be properly tightened and not fall off the car. So thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, comment. If you guys want to see anything specific, let us know. Check out our previous video. It's a video of quick introduction of my car, which is currently in the body shop, but we're going to get some new material out right away.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.
Take it easy.